Ruth Hart is passionate about walking with people through their recovery. She volunteers in the community, and she loves to connect her faith with her recovery. Please welcome Ruth Hart with 3 Things I Know.
Good evening. I guess one of the best things about being the oldest cast member in the crew is they give you your own microphone. So, been walking around with it all night, and it's gotten quite comfortable. We're building a relationship here, so. All joking aside, it is an honor to be on the stage tonight with such brave, passionate, vulnerable young people. It was during my own college experience that I first became diagnosed with bipolar disorder and generalized anxiety. So not only could I live with a mental illness, I could be nervous about it all the time. Prior to that, I had lived my life in isolation. I grew up in a small town in northern Minnesota where you didn't talk about mental illness, and you certainly didn't send your child to seek treatment. So there was a loneliness, a sense of not fitting in, a sense of knowing that something was wrong but not having a name for it. When I came to Cornell College during my 3rd block, I had my 2nd serious suicide attempt. And it was at that time the wonderful people at St. Luke's Hospital took me in, named that pain for me, and helped me to step on my way to treatment. Now, I left the hospital with clear instructions and my bag full of medicine, and I thought to myself, okay, phew, that part of my life is over. That's not entirely how it ended up working. I have struggled the majority of my life with bipolar disorder and with the generalized anxiety. Now, mind you, most of my life has been this wonderful tapestry of woven threads of happiness, joy, possibility, and achievement. I got married. I have 3 beautiful children who, by the grace of God, still speak to me, even though I had a very Persian bazaar method of parenting. And 2 of them are here today, so I'm very excited. I know they're out there somewhere. And I was able to get a graduate degree in theology and religion. So there were clearly periods in my life where my life was working. Unfortunately, within those periods, there were also peppered incidences of days, months, and years where my life was not working. My major achievement for the day was getting from the bed to the couch and back to the bed again. That was a full-time trip. I found myself in the throes of loneliness, even though I was surrounded by people who loved me. I became overwhelmed as a parent, and there weren't a lot of the resources available at that time that there are today. And I look at that time as a gift. I look at that time as a time where I learned so much about myself, and I learned about the people who are going to stay with me and stay by me, and that includes my wonderful husband. Fast forward to a couple weeks ago. Now, about a year ago, I finished a program here at Kirkwood in substance abuse counseling and human services. So naturally, those of us that have mental illness are drawn toward the helping professions. So during the course of that time, I realized that I might need to check out whether I'm actually qualified to do that or not. So living with a mental illness, I wanted to make sure that I was being responsible to those that I was going to serve. And about 2 weeks ago, I sat in my psychiatrist's office after we reviewed some of the test results that I'd gotten, and he looked at me with his psychiatrist glasses, and he said, I don't know what to tell you. You know, you seem relatively stable. You seem like you're doing okay. In fact, I'm going to dare to whisper that you might be in remission. Now, any regular sane person would say, hoot, hoot, I got this. But to show you how my mind works, the first thing I thought of was, well, if I'm not mentally ill, then what am I going to do with my life? See, part of it is the identity of being mentally ill kind of takes on a life of its own. The second thought that I had was, oh my God, can I still be in the show? I think that thinking alone qualifies me for still being in the show. So I stand before you tonight, and I'm in a really good place. I'm surrounded by friends, family. I've been at my job almost 2.5 years, and from that place of wisdom and maturity, I have 3 things that I know. That was 4, but I have 3 things that I know. Words hurt, language matters, and stigma kills. Let me say a little bit about that. Words hurt. Have you ever heard, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me? Lies. Flat out lies. I don't remember the last time I fell and tripped and hurt myself, but I do remember the last mean thing someone said to me. Or worse yet, the last mean thing I said to myself. Sometimes with mental illness, we find ourselves talking to ourselves in a way that we would never talk to anyone else. Oh my God, would you just get it together? You are so stupid. Oh, I can't figure this out. I can't. I need a mental health day. The problem is, what? The audience is talking back to me. That's not necessarily good. No. They are real, right? Okay, I just wanted to check. So I thought to myself, okay, I got this. Words hurt. Language matters. For those of you that are professionals in the audience, we are mentally ill, not deaf. We hear everything you say about us when we're in an emergency room or in your office. Oh my God, that attention-seeking woman is coming to see me again. Right here. And you start believing it, unfortunately. And you start believing your own self-talk, and you start believing the talk and the language that other people use. Have you ever heard, I remember when Charlie Sheen came out when he was bipolar, I was doing a speech that same week for Toastmasters. And so I had to start the speech, I'm winning, not Charlie Sheen winning, and not Charlie Sheen bipolar, but just a little bit bipolar. So, we are not psycho. We are not mentally imbalanced. We have a brain disorder. And sometimes that does affect the way we act. The third thing I want you to know is that stigma kills. There's a loneliness and an isolation in living with mental health issues, whether it's me, myself, dealing with those issues, or occasionally being a parent in the past of children who inherited some of my issues. While other people were planning prom, I was planning the next placement. When other people were having carefree weekends, I was visiting my children. And no one was sending casseroles. When you're sick and in your hospitals, people send sympathy cards and they bring you casseroles so your family can eat. Well, when I was in the hospital, no one sent my husband sympathy cards, and no one brought him any casseroles because they didn't know what to say. They didn't know what to do. And even though I stand before you today and I'm doing really well, there have been those times in my life where I haven't been doing as well. I've gone through 2 sets of electroconvulsive shock therapy, which saved my life each time. And I am a suicide survivor 3 times over. And we've got to get past the fact that we can't talk about those things because stigma does kill and silence is death. My grandson recently introduced me to the musical Hamilton, which you may have heard of. It seems that I was slow dancing with depression during that whole period, and I just totally missed it. So I want to leave you with a few lines from one of my favorite songs that's been haunting me all week. It's like that little earworm thing that gets in your ear. Life doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes. But we keep loving anyway. And we rise and we fall and we break. We make our mistakes. But if there's a reason that I'm still alive when so many around me have died, then I'm going to wait for it. Thank you and have a good night.